Catherine Jewell is known as the Career Passion Coach and is a certified professional career manager. That's actually a certification, PCM. She's just celebrated 27 years in the career coaching field and her adventurous move to Austin. Her specialty is helping salaried professionals increase their income. Hold on, let me admit some more people here. And increase their incomes by 30 to 50% with each job move. She's married and lives in Georgetown. She's a mother, stepmom to four, and grandmother to four. She recently experienced both a broken hip and ankle. Hopefully, that's not a current bio. I hope that was a while ago.
Yeah.
Her newest passion is walking and is committed to completing 20 miles each week. So she's getting her steps in. And she is the author of three books on career change, including Empowered Networking, which is available for free as an ebook. And you can get that by emailing Catherine at cj@catherinejewell.com. So, Catherine, I am going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to pray while you bring up your presentation. Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for the rain that we've had, and thank you for the sunshine today. Father, it's just a reminder of a new season, summer, and you have a new season for each of us. The season of the job search and finding a job. And I pray that that would happen quickly for people and that they would be encouraged today, that they would be an encouragement and be encouraged. And I pray that you would continue to use Catherine in helping job seekers and even starting this morning. And we thank you for that in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay,
Amen.
take it away, Catherine. Welcome. Y'all go ahead and
Thank you so
share in
much.
the chat.
Is everybody seeing my screen?
Yeah, we can see it.
Perfect.
I'm
Well,
going to have everybody share their LinkedIn profile in the chat and get
oh,
to know
that would
one
be
another.
great.
Okay,
Super.
go for it.
Okay, so welcome everyone. I'm so glad to be here today. And today I am going to present a part of a course that I teach called Score Your Next Job. And this is the E in SCORE, which is expect and prepare for a phone screen. So my SCORE method is maybe a little bit different than what you've heard before because I try to go deeper with my clients and really look at, are you seeking the right role? Are you customizing your resume and application well enough to be found? Are you optimizing your research of the companies that you're applying to? And then this is the one many people miss, and that's reaching out to recruiters, uh, hiring managers, and employees of the company. And then the one I'm presenting on today is to expect and prepare for interviews. Now, if you are prepared for a phone screen, you're going to be prepared for an interview because the phone screen is a mini interview. So phone screens feel very jarring to job seekers because you've had these long stretches of silence and rejection, and you keep applying and you have application limbo. You don't even hear back with a negative. And then suddenly you get a phone call. Can you talk in 10 minutes? Or can you talk right now? So I want to help you prepare for that time. Now, my clients are always telling me that phone screens feel so jarring because it came out of the blue, came out of nowhere. Well, you know what? It didn't come out of nowhere because you have been applying, you've been active. People have seen your LinkedIn profile. They see that you're posting, they see that you're commenting. And so even it's a job that you never even considered, it didn't come out of nowhere. It's coming out because you have pursued those marketing efforts. But when you get that call, your nervous system hears threat and urgency. Sometimes your brain goes offline, and even strong candidates will ramble, they will over explain, and they will undersell themselves. And here's the problem. Try to imagine a recruiter who is trying to fill 50 job orders. So she's got 50 job orders. She has the top 10 candidates in each of the job orders. So those are 500 people. And she's trying to reach everybody. And she's trying to figure out, have I chosen the right 10 people to put in front of the hiring manager? And how can I get those 10 down to 5? So that's what she's trying to do. So this isn't a lack of skill on your part. It is a stress response when you get that call. Recruiters can feel your desperation, your defenses, and even a sense of entitlement on a phone screen. And that's the reason they always want to hear your voice and sometimes even Zoom or do a meeting with you. So my goal today is to help you prepare for the 8 most common phone screen questions. So you may want to take notes on these. And if you send me an email, I will send you my handout about this. Um, I also want to demonstrate how AI can be your thought partner. You want to communicate that you're calm, prepared, you're proud of your history. In other words, positive energy. And of course, while you're looking, it is so hard to keep that positive energy. Um, Praying helps. Going to Purpose Works helps. Any courses you take help. Any group of job seekers you're seeking with, all that helps because you have to keep your energy positive. But it really is hard. So, what do I mean by positive energy? Well, in a job search, it's not pretending that everything is fine. This is choosing a posture. So, your positive energy looks like the professional energy that you've put forth in your last job. You're calm, not frantic. You're curious, not defensive. Now, when you get asked questions about your resume, it's really easy to get into a place where you feel like they're challenging you, but you want to be curious. You're prepared, you're confident, but you're not entitled. So that's kind of a fine line to walk sometimes. So the two I want you to walk away with are curious and confident. So you're curious about the job. Is this the right job for me? Can I make a significant contribution in this job? So you want to be confident, but also very curious. So resetting your mindset from rejection to readiness. Remember that disappointment is just a part of the process. Disappointment does not mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're in motion. So every time you get turned down, it is feedback from the market telling you, well, maybe not that job. Your job is not to stay positive at all times. Your job is to stay available. for the opportunity that hasn't arrived yet. So you have to be mentally available. And sometimes, after 2 or 3 rejections in one day, I want you to just walk away from your computer and take a walk. Uh, do something that you enjoy. So you need to reframe everything. You're going to be saying to yourself, I keep getting rejected. And you need to reframe that to say, I'm refining my positioning with every interaction. One of my clients is a senior officer in an electrical company, and he frankly was pushed out because he reached 65, and it's a French owned company, and their people retire at 65. So he's looking for a job, and he started with public affairs, but because he knows so much about data centers, he has refined his positioning, and so now he is presenting himself as a data center expert. So you're going to be thinking they might not choose you, and you reframe that to, I'm here to explore fit. Every conversation sharpens your story. Every pause creates space for you to think and rethink. Every no gives you more data from the marketplace. And momentum is invisible until it isn't. And when it comes fast. So you have to focus on what you can control: how well you prepare, how clearly you communicate, how you speak about your past, and the energy you bring to the conversation. So part of your energy reset can be as simple as a couple of post-it notes on your mirrors, on your kitchen cabinet, above the coffee pot. I am not here to be chosen. I'm here to explore fit. Remember that. You're always trying to figure out, am I a good fit for them? I bring value. I am prepared. And I love this one. This conversation is already a win. So, how do you get space to prepare? You ask for a pause. So, here's a pause. Ask, I'm really glad you called. I want to give you my full attention. Can I call you back in 20 to 30 minutes? So there, you're going to get the phone number. Of course, if you're on a cell phone, you will know what number the recruiter is calling from. Make sure you make a note of that. And in this pause request, you are giving yourself some time to prepare and not be so reactive. Or you could say, I'm so glad to hear from you. I'm not in the best spot to talk right this second. May I call you back shortly? Okay, so you're going to say this if you're in the grocery store, if you're driving, and you don't have to say what you're doing, just ask for that pause. Now, an executive way to ask for the pause would be to say, well, I have a meeting at the top of the hour. Can we schedule this conversation later today or tomorrow? So remember that you want to keep that professional image up. You don't want to say, I'm sorry, I'm in the bathroom, or, I've got a doctor's appointment in half an hour. Pretend like you have a job, you're at work, and you're being completely professional because this person calling you is your client, basically. Before the call starts, get ready physically. Plant your feet on the floor. Slow your exhale. And that means the exhale is much longer than the inhale. And remind yourself, I am prepared. This is a conversation. I don't need to earn interest. I already have it. Okay, I'm going to pause right now and ask, do any of you have a question over this first section? Or do we have any questions in the chat? Let me check the chat and see. Okay. All right. Mostly people just introducing themselves. Okay. So we don't have any questions now. Is anybody raising their hand? I guess not. Okay.
Hey, Catherine, Jewell, I got one question. This is John. I don't come late starter
Hi,
here. Morning.
John.
How you doing, Catherine?
Doing good.
The question I got, I do phone interviews all the time, but sometimes what I get asked in the interviews is to test the company's software out. Mostly I'm working with innovative companies who are going into the AI realm of setting up an AI to answer their calls, mostly in the consulting field. That would be kind of a screening call for consultants. You understand what I'm talking about? That makes sense? So I've been
Yes.
testing software out for innovative companies, basically out of Europe, South Africa, some out of the Southeast Asian region and stuff like that, the consulting agencies and stuff like that, because they're setting up these AI agents, these energetic agents to test what they're going to do innovative wise and how you would react to things. That makes sense. So in an
Okay. So
interview,
if
is that
you're
okay to
test,
test it out, or how should I approach that?
mm, well, I think you can do a limited test and maybe commit 30 minutes to it, but I would not give away your services. um, if you can avoid it. I would say, I do that work professionally as a consultant, and I would be happy to, do a quick overview. But if you really want me to test the software as a test for my skill level, I feel that I would need to be paid for that.
Okay.
And maybe you have you know, a very a token amount of
Yeah, some of those are partners
$500
I work
or
with in the
something.
consulting field. Some of them are partners I work with on a consistent
Okay.
basis. So
So what
there's a partnership level there as well.
they're asking you for a free consultation is what they're asking. So you need to decide, do I give that free consultation? Um, or do I try to negotiate a different way to demonstrate my skills? Yeah. Thank you for mentioning that, because I also have had a client who applied to a university who is having a 50th anniversary. And they asked her to create a complete plan for their 50th anniversary celebration. And she's a public relations professional. She spent 3 days during her vacation preparing a proposal, and they gave it 5 minutes look and rejected her as a job candidate.
That brings up a second question, Catherine. I know more and more employers are not asking you to tell them who you can do, but they want to see artifacts of what you actually do. You know what I'm saying? Or what you're actually capable of doing.
Yes.
And that's kind of what I got why I asked that question in the first place. Are you somebody that's actually capable of setting up something yourself and doing it and showing others how to do it?
Right. So if you can, I would post a small sample of your work without the client's name or with a bogus name. because many people have websites with their work, samples of their work there. But I don't think people really want you to come to work very badly if they make you demonstrate so much. Now, I'm a trainer, and when I went to work for a big railroad as an trainer of executives, they gave me a training module to deliver. But it was a 20-minute demonstration. And, after I was hired, I had a contract that generated, 15 training dates a year. So it was well worth my time, to pass that test, so to speak. So thanks, John. I'm going to move on, and thanks for those questions. It's really important. But what we're focused on today is the short phone screen. So this is for the recruiter to get her list from 10 to 5, so to speak. So you're going to reframe this for your job search. You're not behind, you're not forgotten. Oh, for goodness sake, don't believe you're starting over. You're never starting over. You're becoming more precise, and you're communicating your value. So, how to prepare for the phone screen? You need to prepare for answers to the 8 most common questions. You practice the answers out loud, and you generate questions for specific companies and jobs. Now you're going to tell me, oh, I made 20 applications last week. There's no way I can research 20 companies. Well, what you can do is generate questions for a specific job function that you can use and quickly tailor. I understand that you can't research all those companies. So you have to be ready to answer these. And if you are, you can answer basically any question, because the most common questions are about your background. What are you doing now? Why are you interested in this role? Not just any job, but this role. What are your top strengths for this role? Why did you leave? If you have anything dodgy on your resume, they're going to ask about it. Your salary expectations, and do you have any questions for me? So let's just take these one at a time, and you may want to write these down. So the first one is, walk me through your background. So what the recruiter is actually finding out is, can you tell a clear, relevant story? So the background you're going to talk about is specific to the job role that you're looking for. Now, this is one that was generated by AI. I've spent the last 8 years working in roles that sit at the intersection of operations, communication, and problem solving. Most recently, I've been focused on strategic planning, where I whatever and delivered one meaningful result. So in other words, you've got a mini success story built in. And then take the conversation to the future. What I'm looking for now is, now there's one thing about this AI generated answer that I really want you to notice. And that is the words, or those are the words, at the intersection. Because AI gives you that phrase a lot. So I'm saying just don't use it at all. Or you can use the rest, but be very careful about rewriting your AI answers. So what are you doing now? Are you stable, credible, and intentional? So, a really great answer is to talk about what you're learning right now, or if you're doing any consulting work, any at all. Make it sound like a lot. Um, so, it's really important that you have an answer to that. And it can be very simple. It can be, well, I lost my job in January, and since then I've been making a study of AI tools. Okay, why are you interested in this role? And it basically means, do you want this job or just a job? So at this point, you may not really be clear which recruiter you're talking to. So you could just kind of stop the conversation by saying, please tell me your company and the job title again, because you can't give a good answer if you don't know which job this recruiter is talking about. What are your top strengths for this position? Again, you want to know the job title that this recruiter is calling you about. And she basically wants to know, can you connect the dots between your career and this job? So you really need to work on this statement and keep it crisp and simple. For example, I've led teams of up to 20 on complex projects. I love working cross-functionally and creating positive change. So this is kind of generic, and you could make it more specific, but it can be as simple as that. Number 5, why did you leave your last role? So the recruiter is actually asking, is there a risk? Is this person a risk? So you can actually use AI to help you. Please put a positive spin on, why did you leave your last job? The real story is, I got a new boss who didn't like me. Our project fell behind. Our department was reorganized. And then my mom passed away and I started losing it. You can literally tell AI your story, but you do not want to tell the recruiter your story. So this is what AI came up with. The company went through a reorganization that shifted priorities. Now, this is a little bit wordy, so I would just put a period there. After completing the project phase I was hired for, it felt like the right moment to step back and reset and look for a role where I could contribute long term, particularly in accessibility and quality, which is where I add the most value. So you notice accessibility and quality are references to the job that we're talking about. And the most important thing is that this individual is keeping control of the conversation. So it's really important that you give an answer that makes you look good. And then you can get a shorter, more confident version. So after getting that answer, I said to AI, give me something shorter. This is way too long. Like many organizations, my company was navigating a lot of change. I learned a great deal from the experience, but I'm most effective in environments with clear priorities and strong collaboration, which is exactly what I'm looking for now. So the person never even admitted why did they leave. And you can say, if there was a reorganization, and just zip it at that point. So you do not owe anyone details about your boss, explanations about grief, proof that you were right. A lot of job seekers will say, well, after I was cut, a lot of other people were cut too. Or my boss also lost her job. So you owe one thing only, and that's confidence that you're steady, skilled, and forward looking. Now, the older we get, the more we want to explain. So prepare an answer, and if you have to, put it in front of you so that you are ready to give a short answer to the why did you leave. Now,
Hey,
occasionally,
Kathy,
yes,
I missed question 5. Could you maybe go back just real quick on that?
okay. Question 5 is why did you leave your last role?
Okay,
And
thanks. Got it.
thanks for asking, because they always want to know, why are you no longer
Yeah, and
employed?
then that's what the answers were about. Okay. Now it makes more sense.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Why
much.
did you leave? Yeah. Okay. So they might go further and say, I noticed several roles around the 2-year mark. Can you talk about that? Now, the reason I mention that is that I've had so many clients who have 2 years, 2 years, 2 years, 2 years, one after another. And it means, are you a flight risk? Do you only stay 2 years in a job? What's going on here? And you might answer, well, I can see why you would ask. My career has included a few 2-year chapters, but they were not casual moves. Now, here is where I differ from AI. Instead of just giving a generic answer, I think it's important to be specific. So you could say, well, I moved from Dell and AMD because the projects I was hired for were complete. My move from Samsung to whatever, my current company, was strategic. I knew I could make a stronger contribution in that role. And then you go back to the job. I'm now looking for a role where I can bring that experience, contribute quickly, and build long-term impact. So you are redirecting the conversation, not to the changes that you made, but the fact that you made them and why. Okay, number 7, what are your salary expectations? So basically, the recruiter wants to save her time. If you want 50,000 more than they have budgeted, she doesn't want to talk to you because her hiring manager is going to be really upset that you are one of the finalists. So it just means, are we in the same ballpark? So here are ways to deal with that question. Number 1, do not give a number. Do not give a range. And other people will tell you, to give a range. My opinion is no, and I'm getting that from a 40-year recruiter who advises people never give a number. So the most executive way to answer this question, perhaps, is to say, well, I've researched your company and I know you pay competitive salaries. I feel it's most important at this stage to establish where there is a fit. So I have a document called How Not to Talk About Money, but I obviously can't go into it now. So I feel this document is worth 20,000, because if you drop a number, you could be easily 20,000 under the highest number in the range. So if you want this document, send me an email and I'm happy to send it to you. This is 20 different ways to answer the money question, but I want to give you the short form. So it's CJ for Catherine Jewell at careerpassioncoach.com. And it's how not to talk about money. So you avoid saying a number or a range by redirecting again to the fit. I'd like to learn more about the role, scope, and what success looks like before we discuss money. Or you can just ask, I'm flexible depending on the full compensation package. Can you share the salary range that you have budgeted for this role? Or you anchor it back to value. I'm looking for a package that's competitive for senior product managers in Austin. So there you're naming the role and you're naming the market. And by the way, it takes 5 seconds to get the range for senior product managers in Austin. So you're not asking for a lot there, but you're not giving the number. Okay, number 8. What questions do you have for me? Are you thoughtful or passive? So you want to make sure you have some great questions. Now, if you're still a little bit foggy at this point about who you're talking to, you can say something like, why is there an opening? And, to whom does this opening report? Because it makes a difference if you're reporting to a vice president or one of the C-suite people and so forth. So you can have some generic questions ready, but it's much better if they're customized to the company. So ask AI to give you some thoughtful questions. Then ask for the executive version of the same answers, it should say. So here's the kind of prompt you would put into AI. Using my resume and the job description as resources, and these questions as a model, please create answers for a positive, confident phone screen. So let AI write your answers and then edit. So the most common questions are about background. What are you doing now? Why are you interested in this role? What are the top strengths you bring to this role? Why did you leave? Anything dodgy on your resume, you've got to be ready for. Salary expectations, and what questions do you have for me? So those are the
Hey,
8 things recruiters need to know.
hey,
Yes.
Catherine.
Yeah.
Jennifer Hudson in the chat had a question for you.
Okay.
Oh, hi. I didn't know if it was the wrong timing for that, but back to the salary range issue.
Yes.
A lot of times they publish the range with I'm finding increasingly they're being more transparent with that. And so in the interview, they'll say, are you okay with our range? Kind of like a yes or no. And what I've heard is you can say, yes, I'm comfortable with the range, but know that you can negotiate more than that when the time comes.
Yes. That's excellent. My answer would, and I love it when they post the range. It
Yes.
really makes sense. The problem is that sometimes the range is ridiculous. It's like 80 to 250,000.
It can be a big one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just crazy. And they are responding to laws that require them to publish the range. And so you can say, yes, I'm okay with the range, but I feel with my experience, I would be at the higher end.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. Good question. And I've got 3 minutes, so I'm going to wrap this up. Remember that you need to reframe that. You're not behind. You're not forgotten. You're not starting over. You're never starting over. You bring to the next job all your experience and professionalism. You're just becoming more precise as you respond to the market. and you're getting better and better at communicating your value. And just know the next job you get interviewed for could be the one. And so every phone screen is absolutely critical. It is just as important as a face-to-face or a virtual interview. So this is the SCORE method. And I also want to tell you and extend my offer of a free consultation on your career. This is my website, and all you have to do is click on this button and you can schedule a 45-minute free career strategy session with me. And so the website again is careerpassioncoach.com. And if you are looking for my email, it's Catherine with a C, and it's Jewell with 2 L's, which trips everybody up. So do I have just a couple minutes for another question, or are we complete?
I have
Yeah,
a question.
let's do it. Go ahead.
Instead of like, what if you don't voluntarily leave like at a 2-year mark? Like the last 6 years, it seems like I've been fired every couple of years. What's the best way to approach answering that?
Well, here's the deal. They can never know what the truth was, because if they call the company, they can only ask 3 questions. Were you employed? What are the dates? And are you rehirable? So if you're fired, then that's kind of an issue. But if you were let go because they had a reorg or whatever, then you have a different story. And so I would say, the project I was working on was complete. Or if you were a contract employee, just say I was a contract employee and the contract ended. So remember, simple, simple, simple.
Thank you.
Yeah. No stories. Please don't tell any stories. Okay. Any other questions out there? Okay. Well, thank you for this opportunity. And it was great to meet all you people, even remotely. And I really am looking forward to speaking with some of you in that free consultation.
Yeah. Catherine, let's hang on a minute. Just make sure that we uh, answer the question on, why you left or if you got let go. Sometimes I've had people have a friend call and, kind of pretend they're hiring you and call the company to see what they actually say, because companies are just a little bit different. But Catherine was right with what she said, as far as what most companies will talk about. And some of the people I know, like salespeople, they'll raise the quota until you can't meet the quota, and then they'll fire you. Well, that's not really a fire. That was an unfair quota raise, and so like Catherine said, just leave the answer very short. Don't tell a story. Don't justify yourself. Uh, and just assume the company's not going to be really foretelling if something terrible, unless you were like a fraudster or convicted, don't go down too far. I've seen too many job seekers get stuck because they're worried about what the company's going to say, and you
Right.
shouldn't be really worried about that.
Yeah.
What would you add to that, Catherine?
Oh, I think that's perfect. And Patrick has a question.
Yeah,
Yeah, hi,
Patrick.
Patrick Myers. So that's intriguing to say. Don't tell stories. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to tell the story of. I'm. How far would you expand that? Because I'm sometimes tempted to sort of convey some of the maybe, I don't know, internal drama within the company or what happened. Sometimes we just kind of get off into being chatty that way.
I'm going to beg you not to do that
Yeah. Okay.
because it comes off as critical. And they do not want to hire people who are critical of management, critical of the company. And so just keep it positive and pretend like that was a completely positive experience. And if you really think about it, it was positive because of all the lessons you walked away with. You
Yeah.
Gotcha.
know, it's like being
John
in a
Yates,
bad marriage. you know, you
what
you
would you
learn
add,
a
John?
lot.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
One other thing I would add to the conversation is that it probably could be dependent somewhat on whether or not you're talking about a large company or a small company. Large companies
Yes.
typically followed policies. Small companies may or may not have standard policies.
That's
Good point.
right. And small companies need to be worried about people suing them,
Oh, yes, definitely. I mean, you should have
or
more
telling
leverage
too
in a
much.
smaller company. Yeah. I mean, more
And
small companies need people.
yeah, and by the way, you probably won't have anybody checking your references or your former employers until they're almost ready to hire you. So let's say you have a job offer and you know they're going to check your references. At that point, you might say, when I left company XYZ, uh, they had raised quotas to the point I just couldn't meet quota. So when you call that company, they may say that I was fired or whatever, whatever your story is. But I would keep it real, again, very simple.
Good.
That makes
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, Catherine.
Yeah.
Appreciate
This is a
you.
pleasure.